Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the life of a man who was, let's be honest, the original thug life meme before memes even existed. We're talking about Napoleon Bonaparte. Forget the short jokes and the hand in the waistcoat pose. We're about to uncover some of the most audacious, savage, and downright epic moments from the life of the Little Corporal himself. So grab your popcorn, because this is going to be a wild ride through history. Let's kick things off in 1793 at the Siege of Tours. Picture this: revolutionary France is in chaos, and the city of Toulon has been handed over to the British and Spanish by royalists. It's a massive problem. The French army is stuck, unable to retake the city. Then a young, unknown 24-year-old artillery captain shows up. His name, Napoleon Bonaparte. His commanding officers are old school, cautious, and frankly, clueless. Napoleon takes one look at their plans and basically says, "This is terrible." He points out that the key isn't a frontal assault, but capturing the high ground that overlooks the harbor. From there, their cannons could rain fire on the enemy fleet, forcing them to leave. His superiors dismiss him. He's too young, too ambitious. But Napoleon doesn't just sit back. He goes over their heads. He writes letters. He pesters the political representatives until they finally listen. They give him command of the artillery. And what happens? His plan works perfectly. The British fleet is forced to flee. Toulon falls, and Napoleon gets promoted to Brigadier General at 24. Imagine being so confident in your own genius that you basically tell your bosses they idiots, and then you prove it. That's a power move. Alright, let's fast forward a couple of years to 1795. The revolution is still churning, and a royalist mob is marching on the National Convention in Paris, ready to overthrow the government. The politicians are panicking. They need someone to save them. Who do they call? That same guy, Napoleon. But here's the kicker: they're desperate. Napoleon is given command of the defenses, but he has no cannons. The city's artillery is miles away. So what does he do? He sends a dashing cavalry officer, a guy named Joachim Murat, on a mad dash through the city streets at night to grab the cannons before the mob can. Murat succeeds, bringing back 40 cannons. Napoleon strategically places them to cover all the approaches to the government building. As the thousands of royalists advance, they're met not with a weak line of infantry, but with what Napoleon famously called a whiff of grape shot. It was brutal, it was decisive, and it was devastating. The mob was scattered in minutes. The government was saved, and Napoleon became the hero of the hour. He used overwhelming force in an urban setting to crush a political uprising. It was ruthless, efficient, and cemented his reputation as a man who gets things done, no matter the cost. Now, for one of my absolute favorite Napoleon moments, the crossing of the Alps in 1800, the Austrians had retaken Italy. While Napoleon was off in Egypt, France needed to strike back, but the Austrian army was blocking the traditional invasion routes. Everyone expected Napoleon to take the easy way, but Napoleon doesn't do easy. He decides to take his entire army, complete with cannons and baggage, over the treacherous Great St. Bernard Pass in the Alps. This was a move so bold, so insane, that his enemies didn't even consider it a possibility. His own engineers told him it was impossible to get the cannons through. Napoleon's response was basically, "Watch me." He had his men dismantle the cannons, place them inside hollowed-out logs, and drag them through the snow and ice like sleds. To keep morale high, he walked with his soldiers, shared their hardships, and promised them glory. When they emerged on the other side, the Austrians were completely stunned. They had no idea he was there. Napoleon had effectively appeared out of nowhere behind their lines, leading to the decisive victory at the Battle of Marengo. It's the ultimate example of where there's a will, there's a way, especially if your will is as strong as Napoleon's. Let's talk about the Battle of Austerlitz in 1805, often called his masterpiece. Napoleon was facing a combined army of Russians and Austrians that heavily outnumbered his own. The enemy commanders, the emperors of Austria and Russia themselves, were feeling confident. They saw what they thought was a weakness in Napoleon's right flank and planned to crush it. But it wasn't a weakness. It was a trap. Napoleon had intentionally made his right flank look weak to lure them in. He even abandoned a strategic high ground, the Pratzen Heights, practically begging them to attack. As the Allied army moved to smash his weak flank, they thinned out their own center. At the perfect moment, as the morning fog lifted, Napoleon unleashed his main force in a massive surprise assault right up the middle, storming the Pratzen Heights. It was a complete shock. The Allied center collapsed. Their army was split in two, and what followed was a total rout. He didn't just beat a larger army, he psychologically dismantled them. He made them think they were winning right up until the moment he destroyed them. That's not just military genius. That's playing 4D chess while everyone else is playing checkers. But Napoleon's savagery wasn't just on the battlefield. It was political, too. In 1804, he crowned himself emperor, not by a pope, not by a king, but by himself. The ceremony was held at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, with the pope in attendance. Traditionally, the pope would place the crown on the new monarch's head, symbolizing that his power came from God. But Napoleon had other ideas. As Pope Pius VII reached for the crown, Napoleon took it, turned his back to the Pope, and placed it on his own head. Then he crowned his wife Josephine as Empress. The message was crystal clear. My power doesn't come from God or the Church. It comes from me. It comes from my own achievements and the will of the French people. It was a massive statement of secular power and personal ambition, a complete break with 1,000 years of tradition, all happening in real time in front of the most powerful figures in Europe. You have to have some serious nerve to snatch a crown from the hands of the Pope. Even in exile, Napoleon couldn't be stopped. After his defeat in 1814, he was exiled to the tiny island of Elba. The great powers of Europe thought they were done with him. They were wrong. Less than a year later, Napoleon escaped. He landed in France with just 1,000 men. The new king sent an army, the 5th Regiment, to intercept and arrest him. They met on a road near Grenoble. The soldiers aimed their muskets at their former emperor. It was a standoff. Any other person would have surrendered or been shot. Napoleon, however, walked forward alone toward the guns. He opened his coat and shouted, "Soldiers of the 5th, I am your emperor. If there is a man among you who would kill his emperor, here I am." There was a moment of silence, and then the soldiers erupted. They lowered their weapons and started chanting, "Vive l'empereur! Long live the emperor!" They joined him. Every army sent to stop him did the same. He marched all the way to Paris without firing a single shot, retaking the throne in what's known as the 100 Days. He reconquered France with the sheer power of his personality. That's a level of charisma and audacity that is almost unbelievable. Finally, even his words were weapons. Napoleon was a master of propaganda and epic quotes. When he invaded Egypt, he told his soldiers, "From the heights of these pyramids, 40 centuries look down upon you." How's that for a motivational speech? He was known for his pithy, powerful bulletins from the front lines that would be read all over France, shaping public opinion and building his own legend. When an advisor told him a plan was impossible, Napoleon famously shot back, "Impossible is a word to be found only in the dictionary of fools." He built an entire persona around the idea that he was a man of destiny, a force of nature that could not be stopped. And for a long time, he was right. From a no-name captain to the master of Europe, Napoleon's life was one epic moment after another, fueled by a relentless ambition and a genius for an opportunity. He truly lived a life that was larger than fiction. So there you have it. A few of the most incredible thug life moments from the one and only Napoleon Bonaparte. He was a complex figure for sure, a tyrant to some and a hero to others, but you can't deny the man had style. What's your favorite Napoleon moment? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into history, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. We'll see you in the next one.